Hello YouTubers, welcome to my channel Try It Yourself, and today I will have for you kind of special video, if you will call it. It's basically two-in-one. Last week I was in California, 2,000 miles away from home, and I had a major radiator leak, so I had to work with my emergency toolkit on the road. And I actually later on the video I said that it took me 4 hours. It's actually took me 3 hours exactly. And I think if I would do it right now at home with my power tools, this is about a 2-hour job. So a few things I'm gonna mention, what I didn't mention later in the video when I was doing it on the spot. Not the best kind of video, but if you will be in a situation like myself, I think it might be helpful for some of you. So first of all, before you start changing the radiator, it might sound funny a little bit, but you're gonna have to unhook, disconnect your battery, because your airbag sensors right here in the front, light will come on, and then you're gonna have to go to the dealership to reset that. I obviously totally left out that spot, that part, and I did not disconnect my battery when I was replacing the radiator, because I'm gonna have to remove all of this, which you're gonna see all of that later in the video. So disconnect the battery. And another thing, when you're gonna put it back together, I'll try to make the best zoom over here from this spot if it's possible, but it has two sockets basically for the radiator. The radiator support has this one over here, as you can see it empty, and one in the back where it actually right there is the second one where the radiator sits. So one in front and one over here in the back. I don't know if the Ford using the same one for all models, which probably makes sense. And this year has 3.2 diesel and 3.5 EcoBoost engine, and this one is 3.7. So I don't know what kind of you have, but when you will be taking this apart, make sure you pay attention to that, because what happened with me a long time ago, when I had once my vehicle in the shop, professionals in the shop said actually in the rear socket, they didn't pay attention. What happened is I caught it in time before it body actually scratched. Oh, right here, see this little extra protection, but the fans actually scratched my hose. Still have the original one. Maybe not a good idea, but that's what I'm that's very important. Make sure, you know, it's going to be much easier to stick it in here because it's going to be in the back, but make sure that your radiator and fan and condenser in front is actually sitting vertically. So make sure it's not the rear socket but the front one over there. So that's the radiator story, and the rest of it you're gonna see in the back. But at the time of the video, I didn't know that my radiator problem is actually it was complicated, or had additional problem. For quite some time I had issue with my AC, and the problem that I had, when I was driving on the highway doing 70, 80, 60, whatever, my AC was working fine. It was blowing cold, no problem. Every time I was idling, park on the parking lot, you know, when I'm expediting obviously a whole week on the road, and with the summer most of the time you want to run, so the inside the van would be cool and stuff. So over the time, again, I couldn't quite catch it when it started happening, but it's been for at least a month for me. When the van was just sitting and idling, my AC suddenly just disconnect. When I try to look for the problem on the internet, Google it, and actually talk to some people that know much more about AC than myself, and everybody, the information that I found was basically pointing out that there is a problem with the condenser. There is some kind of with the voltage is not right when it's idling and not enough for condenser, blah blah blah, and turned out to be, in my case, it wasn't correct, or maybe not entirely correct. And whatever happened in my case, this is maybe 1 in a million situation, but it could be helpful in your case. Basically, so the problem was when I am driving, AC working fine. When I'm parked, the engine's running, AC doesn't work. And when I was looking over here, the compressor was trying to kick in, and it kicks in for a second and out. And so the clutch wasn't able to engage to actually to maintain the pressure to run the Freon in the system. So, and here's how the basic information, how everything works. So the Freon compressor pushes the gas, high pressure, into condenser. Condensers actually cooling it off and turning it into liquid, and then liquid goes to evap, and there is a blower through evap pushing the cold air into your face, blah blah blah, and so on and so on. So here's what happened in my case, and basically every car. So if you don't know where a clutch is, right there, I'm gonna try to zoom it. Basically, in a normal condition, when your AC is off, this part over here is standing still. When the whole belt and all of these pulleys, everything is spinning, this part over here, that's the by the way, right there behind the hose, that's the compressor, or the pump, condenser pump, however you're gonna call it, but compressor. So this centerpiece, that's the clutch. It's not turning. When the pressure in the AC system is dropping, that thing is engaged. Basically, it's either magnetic, electrical, whatever. It actually sucks in and it starts turning, and it's pushing the pressure. The pressure goes into the condenser, which is sitting over here in front of there's a tiny one. If you're gonna see it, that's the some oil radiator, the tiny one, and then you're gonna see right here the edge of it. See, that's the condenser. It starts from here all the way to the bottom, the whole front, that's the condenser. And here's what's happening when you're driving on the road 70 miles an hour. The wind that blows directly into condenser, cooling it off and making the AC actually working right. But in my case, what happened, or in any cars, when you parked, the fan in the back is actually sucking the air through condenser, through radiator, and then just blowing it out. So that's how the condenser or the AC should work, to be able to pull the air in. So here's what happened in my case. The fan actually got warped up, or actually twisted, whatever you're gonna call it, and fan was actually grinding on a radiator. And what happened, before it actually cut through the tubing inside the radiator and creating a leak, it actually bent all of this super tiny plastic, not plastic, I'm sorry, aluminum flares or screen or whatever, and it actually melted and it shut the hole, so that when the fan was trying to pull, it wasn't able to pull even through the radiator inside, not the last over here condenser in the back. So as soon as I replaced the radiator, now the path is, even though you're not going to be able to see it like that, the air's coming through, and now I have a working AC. All because because my fan was in in the wrong spot, was, like I said, twisted, and I was grinding through the radiator and basically plugging the airflow. How is it could be related in your case? If you have like an older vehicle, if you look over here, I mean, I have all kinds of bugs. Some people actually sticking a piece of cardboard over here for the winter to warm up the engine better if you like live in the super northern areas of the country, and then forgetting to remove it for the summer. So make sure that there's nothing over here. I mean, first of all, I mean, like I said, there's a super tiny chance that your fan, like in my case, ruin your radiator and plug the airflow over here. But what most common could be, before you go and replace condenser and all of this stuff, make sure that you have a nice airflow over here through the front, and nothing is blocking, you know, like millions of bugs, or maybe you caught some kind of, sometimes I do, it happened to me on the road, like a plastic bag or something, or whatever, anything, could be like a big leaves if you like parking this thing under the tree or something like that. So make sure that your airway over here up front is clean, because if you have a situation like this, that when you're driving AC is working, but when you park AC doesn't work, your problem is you don't have the correct airflow. So it could be bad fan that is actually not sucking it, and when you're driving you have a good airflow just because of your speed. So first thing, I mean, check your fan if both of the fans are actually pulling the air, and then you check if nothing is blocking the airflow over here. So that's the part about AC. I don't know if it's going to be useful for you or not, but you know, this is like a super cheap way to actually fix it yourself if you have some kind of problem with AC and it's working when you're driving and not working when you park. So check the airflow. I mean, anybody can do that. So that's that story. And the second part is actually how I replaced my radiator. Hello YouTubers, welcome to my channel, try it yourself. If you didn't know, I'm from Indiana and I stuck over here in LAX, LA International Airport, with a radiator problem. So this is the repair on the road. I'm gonna do like a backwards video. Already radiator got replaced, but here's the problem. Exactly a year ago I replaced my radiator, fan, and a whole bunch of other stuff, and look what happened with my thing. I bought a radiator from the Ford, and the fan I bought from the Advanced Auto Parts, Automarker Chinese, year ago. And see what happened over here. It actually, my fan cut through my radiator. Now that I remove everything, I looked over there and my fan is either got twisted because cheap plastic, got overheated, and got whatever, actually messed up. So right now I'm on the road, super lucky. One of the local Ford dealership had 2 of those in stock, so I'm replacing it over here. About 2 hours into this job. So over here, anyway, I put it back together, and to get me back on the road, you're not gonna be able to probably see it, but I put it has actually to set the fan inside, right here. See those little latches right there? So on the left side, passenger side, I locked them in, the top and the bottom, but the one on the driver's side, the big fan that got twisted, I actually did not lock in, and just on the road I found some wire, tied together to get it to home right here. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that. I left a little crack over here, see, between fan and radiator, and this give me about still 1/4 inch from the fan to radiator. it's not gonna work as well, but it's gonna do the job. Anyway, when you're gonna be undoing all of this, so from this point, you need to take radiator support, and it's a 10 millimeters bolts, one here, two over here, and two over here. So two over here, so three on this side and three on the other side. Two, and one here at the top. And you're just gonna have to remove a few things like this reservoir. This is, I think, T20 or something. This is steering wheel. This one, actually, you just click in there to take it out. There's a spring right there. You just pry it out with a screw, but to put it back together, clip, so you don't have to unhook. Steering wheel fluid reservoir stay the way it is. This is a little radiator, I think, for oil or something. That has, you're gonna have to take this shield from this side. You even don't have to mess one down on the other side, and everything 10 millimeters. One here, one over there at the bottom. So, and basically when you do all of this, you're gonna have to support your hood. One of the ways is to take it out. I had one of those 2x4s handy, so I support mine with this. With the 2x4, I didn't have to do it. And basically when you do it, your radiator sits in those rubber grommets, one on this side, one on the other side. When you undo all of those bolts and loosen up everything, you just lift it up. Basically from this point, you're gonna have to lift it up. Obviously, see, so nothing actually should be, you're still gonna have this horn over here. Horn, there's a harness on this side. You don't remove this, you just unplug this harness, and that's pretty much it. And you can remove the radiator support. And after that, when you remove the radiator support, obviously at this point everything is back together, so I'm not going to be able to show it to you. But to remove the condenser, you just see this, pry it over here. Inside, that's the latch, and then it goes up. Same thing on the other side, and basically same thing on your fan. Right there is your, I mean, I cannot stick my finger in there, but right here, same thing. You pry it and you lift it up. Both locks on the bottom for condenser and for your fan. When you do that, fan and condenser stays. You just obviously undo hoses. You have one, this is overflowed, I think, the tiny one. To do this one, there's two little push buttons. You push it and you remove it. And then hoses, two big ones, one on the left over here at the top with a, right there, spring clamp. Take vice grips or adjustable pliers, squeeze it, slide it, and undo the hose. On this side, you have one on the bottom, right here, same process, and one over here on the top. That's that. So now I'm gonna be putting back together. As you can see, you just remove the whole front grille and bumper together. That's the easiest way. And now I'm gonna show you how I do that, and then after that gonna be headlights. Okay, so next step, put the whole bumper with the grill. You have two keep that socket away. I think it's either 14 or 15 millimeters. Two up front, and you just put the plugs to cover them. You have 3 bolts over here, 1, 2, this one I lost, and 1 over here, and then clips, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clips. Now on this side, same way on the other side, basically Torx 20, 1, 2, and 1 on the bottom, 3, and then 2 on the side over here, to the bumper, 1 and 2. This, when you're done with everything, this just basically you snap on carefully, not to break any, just like that, snap on and cover. And when you remove, same thing, just gently yank it out. So next step, let's see if I didn't forget anything. Yeah, that's, and to line up everything, you see this little notch in your radiator support, so everything slides over here and you pretty much locked in there. And in my case, you pretty much just try to hit the old holes. So next step, put the headlights, plug, slide the bulbs inside, lock, plug in the switch, and it holds on 2 screws, 1 here, 1 here. And the screws are, you can use either Torx bit, I don't know what size it is, or flat screwdriver. So that's my next stop. And after that, you're gonna have to play, since radiator was empty, you can see reservoir as well empty, I'm gonna have to fill up a few times to push the air bubbles out of the system. And to do that, you pretty much turn on your heater, everything on all the way at the highest setting, and just pretty much fill that up full, let it work a little bit, then release the air, but be careful not to burn yourself up. But that's the next step. For now, I'm gonna have to put the headlights. Okay, so headlights are on, plugs, everything in there plugged in. There's 2 screws, 1 on each side. Fill up with the antifreeze, and you pretty much just wait before you get on the road. This might take, depends of course how bad, I mean at least the full radiator to fill up, but right now I think I got a gallon on at this point. And well, engine's not hot yet, so thermostat maybe not didn't open yet to run everything on a big circle. So I'm gonna have to wait a little bit to see if the level of the antifreeze is gonna go down. But this is not the best video. Well, first of all, because now I'm not at home to do this kind of stuff, and this is really emergency situation, like on the parking lot on the LAX cargo. So I have this, my road kit, actually present from my friends a long time ago, and this is the first time I have to do something major like this. And consider everything, I mean, this is a huge problem, but I think at the end I've been blessed, because one of the loads that they offered me was to Canada, and yeah, this would be really bad to deal in Canada. And over here, I mean, this is really huge surprise actually to have radio like this in stock. So lucky, blessed, whatever you like. But let me see what the time it is. Yeah, this is still old antifreeze, and the time is 7 o'clock. So everything 11, everything basically took me 4 hours. 4 hours to take apart and to put it back together. Took me 4 hours without, you know, my best tools that I'm using at home. Well, maybe this is it. I actually need to, maybe I need to put some gas on it to speed up the heating process. But anyway, to sum up, just I guess now I will be checking my fan even on this new one all the time, because this is very unusual, but stuff like this could happen and you don't want to strangle somewhere in the middle of the desert. As a matter of fact, we're driving here to California. So if this video was somewhat helpful for you, don't forget to give me a like and subscribe to the channel. And I hope you never have to deal with anything like this, but if you do, good luck.